Alright guys, back again with another video. What we're working on today is a 2008 Infiniti G35, and this is a similar process for other makes or other models similar to the G35 and other Nissans. It's helpful to understand a couple of little nuances about these things. They're really weird because they move up and down with the steering column. So when you bring the steering column up or down with the tilt wheel, the steering or the speedometer actually goes with it. So it's kind of different, kind of weird, kind of foreboding if you're not sure what you're doing. But first thing you want to do is you want to lower your bolster underneath the steering wheel, and it's just held in with clips here, and you can just pop that down to gain access underneath. Then you'll want to remove the 4 10mm bolts that hold this lower panel on underneath and set that aside without losing the bolts. And then you'll come in here behind your steering wheel and you'll turn it to the left and then to the right until you can see the clamshell around the steering column, and you'll take the 2 little covers off and there'll be 2 Phillips head screws in behind it. So you'll take those 2 out, but don't pry on this. Don't pry on this yet. The top half will come loose from the lower half when you pull those 2 screws out, but don't pry on the bottom half yet. On the bottom, underneath the release for the tilt wheel, there's another plastic cover which is actually attached to the bottom of the speedometer housing. So you'll pop that plastic cover off, and there's a hidden Phillips head screw in behind there that you may not initially see, and if you break that, then you know it won't be as tight. Anyway, when you get the clamshell out of the way, you'll come up underneath, and you may have to feel for it because you're not really going to be able to see it unless you get way up underneath. But as you can see here on this panel, there are 2 holes here, and then there on the other side of the column there are 2 holes there. These hold 10mm bolts. 10mm bolts. You'll pull 2 out of this side and 2 out of that side, and that will release the housing for your speedometer. And it'll still be really difficult to pull out, so you'll want to be very careful not to grab a hold of or pry against your tree up here. You don't want those breaking off or anything like that. So being that it wraps around the steering column like that, it's really kind of a pain, but this does have some flexibility. You can bend this to an extent. Just be very, very careful. It's not something you want to break. But once you've gotten it released from the steering column, then you'll come in behind, and there's just a big wiring clip here and a smaller one here, and it'll attach through just a keeper up here to hold your wiring tight. But after that, you wrestle that off of there, and it'll be out in your hand, and then you can do maintenance work to your start-stop switch, your cluster if you need it, or your switches over here to the left. So anyway, thanks for watching. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe. Thanks.